Happy Saturday. I am Intelexx, and I'm here with your light and love of the day. I will not be before you long, just a few minutes to talk about productivity, right? So a lot of us want to be productive and we're actually busy. Hey sis, thanks for tuning in to the light and love of the day. The topic today is productivity. A lot of us want to be productive, but we're just busy. We're doing so much. We're putting ourselves out there. We're stretching ourselves thin, and it's doing a disservice to us. Sometimes less is more, right? So something that I've heard is, in order to be completely productive, limit the amount of things that you have to do in your day. So something that I learned is to do 5 things. Make a list of 5 things that you want to do. And if you don't get everything in your list done within that day, carry it on to the next day. But it's more productivity when you do less, right? Sometimes less is more. Being busy doesn't necessarily mean that you are productive. So something that I want you to remember is that you don't have to look like you're doing so much or trying to multitask, trying to do this, trying to do that, and then you lose yourself in the midst of that, right? So remember to do less and to be intentional about what you do. Make sure you're putting all of your effort into everything that you're doing, because in the end, you are the one whose name is on whatever you do. That's your representation. So if you are only putting 2% in of one thing and 2% in here, and you're doing 50, 60, 70, 80 different things, and it's only 2% of you, that is the representation that you're giving. That you're not putting in all that you can put in, right? Don't be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Do what you love. And if you are not able to do what you love all the time, take time out for that, right? So when you take time out and you are intentional about what you're doing, when you are doing the necessary steps in order to be a master of whatever it is that you're doing, and when you are able to produce in massive amounts, you have to start somewhere, right? So a lot of people who may be on different levels, who are who have more of a responsibility or have more people to look into or what have you, they started somewhere, right? You don't just get a bunch of responsibility and think that you know what you're doing. It starts small, right? So hey, thank you for tuning in to the light and love of the day. We are talking about productivity and how it's one thing to be busy and it's another thing to be productive. And start small, right? Start small. So what you do is, when, let's say someone wants to have a house, let's see if they have a bike, right? How do they treat that bike? Maybe that bike will turn into a car. Maybe that car will turn into an apartment. Maybe that apartment will turn into a house. But it's all about how you take care of what you have, right? And being productive doesn't necessarily mean that you are doing a bunch of things or that you have a whole bunch of things on your list. It's about doing what you have to do well, right? Doing less, because less is more. Simple is harder. A lot of us want to do so much and put ourselves out there and stretch ourselves thin that we're not really getting anything done, right? So like I was saying earlier, focus on 5 things to do in a day and be intentional about those 5 things, and focus on how to do them to the best of your ability, because like I said earlier, that is a representation of who you are. So if you are representing that you only do things 20% well, people are going to expect that 20% from you. They're not going to expect anything more. And don't let social media fool you. A lot of people come on here and put on a facade and make it seem like they're so busy or they have so much going on, when in reality, that's not the case. So don't look to social media as your guide, right? Focus on what you need to do. Be a master at it. Be intentional with it. And just do what you love. Be you, right? Be authentic to yourself. Don't try to do so much because you're trying to keep up with the fads. You're trying to keep up with what's going on. You're trying to do all this extra stuff. Be you, because at the end of the day, the ones who are successful are doing what they love, being intentional about it, and just really focusing on honing in on what they do best, what they love, right? So focus on that, right? Don't focus on if people will like you or how you look to others, what they think about you, because if you're so focused on what other people think, you will never be in a place of peace, of satisfaction, because everybody's not going to like what you do. Everybody's not going to support what you do. But it's about getting the most out of your life. So what is it that you're doing that's causing you to look without instead of going within? Take that time out for yourself. If you have to start your list off with 3 things to be productive but intentional and focusing on what it is that you need to do those things. Of course, we all have lives. We all have different things that we go through. We all have different places that we have to go, people that we have to be responsible for. Some of us have multiple businesses. Some of us are in school. Some of us are working a 9 to 5. Some of us have children. So all of those different hats need caring for and tending to. So yes, there are going to be times where you may feel that you are stretching yourself thin, but if you manage your time well and manage what you're doing well and going within more instead of going without, then you're on the right track, right? So be productive today. Don't be busy, right? Take time out for yourself. Be intentional about everything that you do, because everything you do has your name on it. And how do you want to be remembered, right? Do it as if you're doing it for God, okay? And when you have that mindset, you're going to be wanting to do it to the best of your ability. So just remember that today. Remember who you are and whose you are today. Remember that life is short, and there's no time that needs to be wasted on pettiness, on things that happened back then, regrets and fears and failures. Everything in life is a lesson, and it's all about how you receive the lesson. If you learn from it, apply it, and move on so that you can be the best you that you can be. All right, so just cherish what you have. Know that we all have been given gifts. We all have been given talents so that we can share it out with the world. And if you are someone that is fearful, do it scared anyway. If you're someone that doubts yourself, meditate and affirm yourself. Create a list for yourself, a daily list, a weekly goal, a monthly goal, so that you can accomplish those things that you want. And once you start making those habits continuous and consistent, it'll become easier to deal with, right? It'll become easier to accomplish. It'll become easier to add more of those things to your list. Once you manage the little, you can start adding a little bit more, but don't forget who you are in the midst, right? Don't be busy with trying to figure out what's going on with everybody else and trying to fix everybody else's life if your life is a mess. Get yourself together first, focus on you, and do everything as if you're doing it for God, right? And that's how you can stay productive. Make those 5 things on your list and be intentional about carrying it out, and just knowing that it's representing who you are and it's your name that's on whatever you're trying to be productive with. So make sure that you are bringing your best you to the table. All right, so that's pretty much all that I have for you today. Like I said, I didn't want to be on here long, but I just wanted to share that with you all, to be productive and not busy, and that less is more and simple is harder, because if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? So you don't have to be doing a whole bunch, right? A lot of us may have 2, 3, 4 jobs, but are you getting ahead, right? somebody with one job can outwork someone with 2, 3, 4 jobs, right? So it's all about your outlook, it's all about your perspective and your work ethic, right? So show up for yourself, advocate for yourself, and do yourself a favor. Go in more and figure out who you are so that you can use the gifts and talents you already have within you, so that you can be out here and share it with us, with the world, because that's what we are waiting for you to show up and show out. All right, so don't forget who you are and learn who you are. Everything that you have is already within you, so never forget that. All right, just a few announcements. Showcase Your Talent Show will be this Wednesday for August, right? So we will have another show normal time later on, the last Wednesday of this month. But our show that's coming up this Wednesday is our $200 grand prize. So if you're interested, there are 3 spots left. If you want to compete, if you want to be a feature and just showcase what you got, you can have the opportunity to do that as well. We also have sponsor spots. If you have a product, service, or business that you want to highlight during the show, there's an opportunity for that. We also have an open mic. If you just want to share your art and you don't want to be a part of the competition, that is fine too. Or if you just want to view, all of these options are available. We also have Meeting of the Minds Mondays this month, where we'll be talking about part 2 from July. So if you go back on our page on Intelexx Artrepreneur Agency page, you click the CEO option on the bio part and go to the series for Meeting of the Minds Mondays, and it's part 2 for Foundation, right? And so we do that once a month, and we focus on anything from art to business itself and everywhere in between. If you have any topics or questions or anything that you would like us to discuss during that time, you can email or DM us. We also have Q&A Wednesdays once a month, and that will also be a part 2 from July. You can go on the other page and check that out to see what we were talking about, but we were talking about dead weight, right? And then we also have Intelexx, a Place for Entrepreneurs podcast in season 3. We have promo options, merch, books. But if you want to stay up to date on all things Intelexx, register and be a part of our mailing list so you can stay up to date on all things, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. All right, well, thank you again for tuning in to the Light and Love of the Day. Our topic was productivity over busyness, right? Stay productive by doing less. Less is more, and simple is harder. All right, you don't have to be busy to be productive, but go within, learn who you are and whose you are, and do it for God. All right, thank you for tuning in, and until next time, I hope you have a great Saturday and an awesome rest of your weekend.